So we're going to take a look at Beau's clean here. We've made some good improvements. That's kind of cleaned up the bar path and his movement's looking good, but he feels like he lacks a little bit of power. So we're going to take a little bit of time and look at this. So let's watch it once in full motion. So this looks like a very good clean and jerk, and I believe this weight is 265. We're going to take some time and look at the clean. His jerk is very good. I see a couple things there. We might take a peek there. Let's see. One of the corrections we made is we had him situate a little more forward, so when he pulls off the ground, the bar is now over his shoulders. Before he was setting up behind, and that was causing a little bit of drift forward. So let's take a look here. It comes off the ground. It travels back very nicely. Here. He complained a little bit about kind of lacking some power here. I think it looks really good, to be honest. And we can talk a little bit about the contact. I think before, with how he's set up, he made a lot more contact. How much contact should you make? Well, I find lifters generally on cleans will make a lot less contact than on snatches, and that has a lot to do with how the bar is going to travel. In snatch, the bar needs a little bit more contact because the bar is going to have to travel back behind the head, so it needs a little bit more hip. So you'll see lifters will get a little further back in the hip extension in snatches because that bar's got to come back. On cleans, the bar simply has to travel not as far back, so the contact on most cleans is going to be a little bit lighter for most lifters. And I would comment on contact in general. The goal should not be to make a hard contact and kind of hit the bar or hump the bar. That should never be the goal. The goal should be to brush the bar and maybe a little bit more than brush the bar. And how hard that contact is will depend on the lifter's anatomy, style, how much like fast twitch muscle fibers they have. It'll depend on a lot of different things. But I don't think the goal should ever be to make hard contact. The goal should be to keep the bar as close to the body as possible the entire lift and make appropriate brush or light contact. Some people associate a hard contact with power production, but if we think about it, any hard contact is causing additional friction, and also any extremely hard contact. I mean, we have to have the hip movement here, we have to have some of that. That causes a little bit of horizontal movement, but we don't want too much of that because ultimately the bar's got to travel relatively straight up. So if we look at Beau's pretty good movement here. I see here, the one comment I would probably make is on the start, I would have him really focus on driving through the quads and really using powerful legs. And because here that would, if we look, he's got pretty good extension, but I have a feeling if he can really drive through the quads and activate them at the get-go, he's going to have a little bit better power. Then here, let's see, I mean, this is pretty good. He might think about just a little more shrug, a little more powerful shrug if he wants to feel a little more power. But overall, I think that's really good. Let's see pretty good. He's maybe a little more finished there, just a tad more. He can stay up. He can get up a little higher and just get a little more finish. I think if he focuses on activating the quads, driving the legs through the floor a little more on the start, he'll get a little more power. But I'm really satisfied with this lifting because we corrected some things. I see. Could keep the bar a little bit closer, so I think like here you're thinking about drive the legs in the ground, and then actively keep the bar close. It swings out just a little bit, and you kind of see that line there, and you kind of see him hop maybe an inch forward, but I think that's very, very marginal. And this is a big improvement. This is like at or near PR for him, and he's making this look pretty easy. So that's the analysis of Beau's clean. And I think something to note is when you change technique, stuff might feel different, it might feel less powerful, but it doesn't mean it's worse, and you have to take some time to get used to technical changes. So the biggest change we made with him, to kind of recap, is we had him set up a little more over the bar, and that kind of trickled down some effects to the lift. So this is an analysis of Beau's clean. Thank you.